What's up, everybody? It's LaMuerteBlanca. Some time ago, Nier Replicant version 1.22474487139 was released, and I had to play it since Nier Automata is one of my favorites of all time. The story and the gameplay are stunning. Highly recommend you experience it for yourself, just like with Nier Automata. There are a ton of thematic elements that have a huge impact on the overall experience. With no recap, will do it justice. However, if you are one of those people that cannot spare 70 plus hours and multiple playthroughs to get through all the endings, I got you. The year is 2053. It's summer, but it's snowing. This is either a post-apocalypse or Russia. Not sure at this point. We're a young kid in an abandoned food store. Apparently, he doesn't like books because he's over here kicking one across the floor. For no reason at all, some random shadow creatures show up, so we beat them up. Turns out we're trying to protect our sick young sister named Yona. We go back to find more shadow things, but before we do, we tell her not to touch the book that's sitting right next to her. Man really doesn't like books. Unfortunately, he gets messed up by the creatures. His power level isn't high enough, so he restores his faith in literature, and BAM! The book grows arms and decks the shit out of all the shadow things. After a lengthy battle, we managed to protect Yona, but she fucked up because she did the one thing that we told her not to do. She touched the damn book, and now she has this disease plague looking thing on her face. Fast forward 1,412 years later, we see a brother and sister. Boy looks a lot like the guy in the last scene, and the sister's name is also Yona. That's a very interesting coincidence. The world is dying as a plague called the Black Scrawl is going crazy, and we learn the shadow creatures are actually called Shades, and they are also terrorizing the world. This Yona is also sick, and her brother is doing all he can to help her. For a while, all we do is stupid errands and fetch quests like murder sheep who definitely didn't do anything to deserve a sword up the ass, but then all of a sudden Yona goes missing. Popola, one of the village leaders, told her about a rare flower called a lunar tear. These flowers are worth a lot of money, which could potentially buy medicine for Yona. This sick, frail little girl thought it would be a good idea to go to the Dangerous Lost Shrine alone. We go to the Lost Shrine, fight a bunch of shades, find a talking book who becomes our homie and gives us magical powers, skewer some possessed knights, and get Yona back. Yona's all like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to help." Bitch, you know what you did. We escape the shrine, but it looks like Yona's Black Scrawl is getting worse. We go see Popola, who gives us the lore on our book homie, Grimoire Vice. He is one of two magical books. There's a black book called Grimoire Noir that brings chaos to the world. Vice appears when needed to banish Noir with magic called Sealed Verses. Our guy is convinced Vice is the key to saving Yona, so we're off to go find the Sealed Verses. But first, Popola needs another stupid errand to the Aerie, so we do that. We run our ass all the way to a secluded mountain area where everyone hides in their houses forever, and the chief basically tells us to fuck off. Good talking to you, I guess. On our way back, we see a bunch of lunar tears. They belong to Yoko Taro's wet dream because she does not look happy that we are there. But wait, is she a shade? Naturally, we don't ask questions, we just start fighting. Then we get interrupted by a big-ass shade with some weird ballsack thing on its chin. Lingerie girl gets knocked out, Shade takes some hits, and then dips. We put her to bed, homegirl's name we finally find out is Kane, and we leave. All that for absolutely nothing. Except we also get a sealed verse. These just randomly pop up after each adventure, so don't feel like we're skipping over them. It's just not significant event other than like a quick menu pop up. It's actually quite underwhelming. We then get info on how to upgrade our weapons at the junk heap. Of course, they need parts they don't have. Yay, fetch quests. We get the parts, little brother's bitching about his mom. We investigate for them. She did. She also planned on abandoning them, probably because the little brother's a fucking twat. We tell them the bad news. Naturally, they don't take it well. Popola then tells us to go back to the area because shades are attacking. Personally, I say fuck them, but our guy's a lot nicer than I am, so he goes to help. We meet back up with Kane and fight the big ballsack Shade thing again. Shade talks shit about Kane's grandma. We learn Kane curses worse than I do. Then the ballsack Shade gets skewered, and unfortunately Kane's not looking so good. She tries to die because her path to revenge has finally been completed by killing Ballsack Shade, but we don't let her because we're selfish and want people to live. Then we hear about a desert village called Facade to see if they can help with our quest. We learn the king went to some desert ruins to retrieve a special mask. It's kind of their thing. With the help of a little girl named Fira who can't speak and, according to our first meeting, has a hard time walking, she leads us through a sandstorm to the desert ruins. The king got captured by some evil want blocks, and there is a lot of them. Like everything else, we skewer the evil roadblock heads, and the king is so happy he blatantly rips off the Zelda celebration in the most obvious way possible. I mean, they stole the sound effects and everything. Popola gets a weird letter from the Forest of Myth, and we go to investigate. Everyone is asleep in an infinite dream state. We enter their dreams, Psychonaut that style, but not really because it's just a long-ass text adventure, and then we pull them out of their never-ending slumber. We then find out Yona has a really weird pen pal that needs our help. We go to this creepy-ass mansion and find a blind kid named Emile, and he has no clue what's going on. Apparently the butler was the one who sent us letters looking for our help, but then somehow Yona received it, and then it turned into the weird pen pal thing. We learn Emile turns things to stone just by looking at them. He's on some serious Medusa shit at this point. He's also looking for ways to solve this curse. The library seems to have some helpful information, but it's guarded by some bad juju. We go in, fight some book, win, and then we get what we need for Emile. At this point in our adventure, our guide now has all of the sealed verses. He goes to check in with Popola when Emile shows up at the town gate. Emile's all messed up. Not sure how he even made it here considering that he's blind. Also, I don't ever think he's left the mansion, so who gave him directions? Then the village starts getting attacked by a big-ass giant shade. Again, because there's no other way to kill these things, we skewer this shade too. Then we retreat back to the library, then get attacked by a smaller spermier-looking shade that popped out of the big dude. We can't kill it, so we just lock it behind a door that apparently has no lock. Kane just has to hold the door closed. Just when you think it's over, our guy gets shanked. Grimoire Noir is rolling with some creepy dude named the Shadow Lord. They have Yona, and Noir just decides to tase everyone, which takes Vice on a vision quest. Noir says he and Vice are both created to serve the Shadow Lord. They're supposed to fuse and set the shades free, and the Shadow Lord is the one who created the verses in the first place in order to set our whole quest in motion for his own devices. Kane cusses at Vice a bunch while Emile asks nicely for Vice to snap out of it. Noir tries to fuse with Vice, but he manages to resist. The power of profanity has prevailed. Our guy and Vice fight Noir, and this man gets destroyed trying to protect Vice. There's no fucking way he's living through this one. Shadow Lord and Noir get away with Yona, and somehow we're still able to stand. Let's not forget, there's still a big-ass shade behind the door with no locks. Kane tells Emile to petrify her. After some hesitation, Emile finally does. With all lost and no hope, we vow to save Yona and Kane. I'm still trying to figure out how he's still alive at this point, though. Then 5 years pass. You're older, you look cooler, you think you're all hot shit, killing shades, but you're still making no progress on saving Yona or Kane. The Black Scrawl continues to destroy the world, and the shades are becoming more and more of an issue. Even though it has been 5 full years, no one thought it would be a good idea to fix the library. Kane is still doing her best on solo impression as well. We meet up with Emile, who says there might be a way to save Kane, but you have to go into the mansion's secret lab where you learn Emile and some other kids were experimented on and turned into weapons. You find what's left of Emile's quote-unquote sister, wake her up because he needs to absorb her power, but she actually ends up eating him instead. You beat her up, Emile becomes a Skelly boy, and he's also now a sad boy because his body's all jacked up. But his power level has increased to where he can now save Kane. Kane is free, but so is the sperm shade who finally gets killed. Kane wakes up, and she's crushing on you hard. You go back to the Lost Shrine to see if you can get that door open to save Yona. Night Boy is pissed because you killed his homie. Kane gets skewered, and the Night Boy eats your sword. Because she got impaled, she can't hold back the shade within her. Kane turns, and you must beat it back into submission. GG's. For some reason, Kane's not dead. I guess you can get stabbed in the chest real hard in this game and just not die. Now, there's a glowy thing on the floor, and of course we want to pick it up. It's a rock. It's not actually glowy at all. Stone fragment means that there are more. Yay. Popola says to go find the other fragments. Here's a mysteriously convenient map I have lying around that's going to show you how to put them all together. Off to find the rest of the fragments. Like with the verses, we get a fragment after each of the following sections in the most underwhelming way possible, so don't think that we're skipping over it. Little brother from the junk heap fucked up and basically killed his brother by accident. He's in denial and blames the robots even now that he's grown up. He sends us to beat up the robot who's being controlled by a shade. A big ass creepy shit ran aground on the seafront. We decide to investigate because people are just going missing. They're dead at the bottom of the ship. The whole place is weird juju and is sus as fuck, and it only gets worse when we find a little girl in the captain's quarters. Guess what? She's the shade. A massive fucking shade. Postman distracts her and we throw an energy dart in her throat. Its throat. Their throat. Not try to say this without offending someone. Facade King is then getting married to our girl Fira, and she is going to become the queen. Good for her. But that is very short-lived because a fucking shade wolf just straight tosses her ass during the ceremony. Yeah, she did. We need revenge for the Queen Fira, so we eradicate all of the wolves. In the Forest of Myth, we do another text adventure, I guess trees can dream too, and then Popola gets an invitation from the Aerie saying that they're starting to open up to the world. A village that's been hiding forever all of a sudden wants to make friends. Nah, Nah, fam. We go, shit gets real. Some of the humans are actually shades. Then shit gets really real. And after the most annoying boss fight in the entire game, Emil goes all weapon mode and just obliterates everything. He's crying because he killed everyone, but our guys all like better them than us. I mean, he's not wrong. So we finally get all the 5 fragments and open the door to the Shadow Lord's castle. Don't worry, Yona, we are coming. We talk to a pigeon who helps us open the first door, and then what the fuck are Devila and Popola doing here? They try to get us to turn back, but we're not, so we have to fight them. What in the hell is going on? They serve the Shadow Lord? They are the ones that created the sealed verses and gave Vice power? Nothing makes sense anymore. They also do some weird magic thing to Vice, and now he's all jacked up. We try to get more answers, but they dip, and we fight more shades, including a couple shade boards with our facade friends, but then we finally get back to Devila and Popola, and they destroy everything we thought was real. No one, including us, are actually human. We are just shells created by the true humans. What? But humans are not actually extinct. They live on as shades, which are also twisted remnants of humans. So all of these shades that we've been beating up this whole time are actually real humans? What? Naturally, we don't accept that, and Yona's still out there, so fuck you two, we're fighting. Devila gets hers, and she dies in Popola's arms. We try to convince Popola fighting isn't necessary anymore, but naturally Popola's super pissed because we just bodied her sister, so she tries us. Spoiler alert, she gets bodied too. But before dying, she decides to magic nuke everyone. Emil tries to help us escape with a magic bubble, but Popola's all like, bitch, you ain't going nowheres. And then in an extremely emotional scene, good boy Emil decides to sacrifice himself to save his friends. Kane and our guy are not happy about it, but we have to save Yona. Finally, we made it. Yona's still chilling, but the Shadow Lord pulls up and is all like, try me. So we do, and he gets his. Yona wakes up, calls out to her brother, and walks right past us. Huh? The Shadow Lord is her brother? But as she talks, it actually starts to make sense. She tells him she doesn't need anyone else's body. And there's another girl inside of her and she's crying, saying she wants to see her brother. It's not fair to steal a body from someone else, so she sacrifices herself by walking into the sunlight. In case you're just as lost as I was when I first saw this, basically the Shadow Lord is the kid from 2053, and his sister, who is also named Yona, got turned into a shade after she got the black scrawl. Remember the very first scene of the game. Shadow Lord stole current day Yona because she is the shell needed in order to bring back the old Yona. But Shade Yona said that's not right, so she killed herself in the sunlight because naturally shades don't like sunlight. Shadow Lord's sister is dead, so you could imagine how pissed he must be. He wants us dead because she's dead. At this point, Vice's powers are dead because he's been slowly dying since the twins used their magic on him. We also learned Vice doesn't like cookbooks. Yeah, that's right. Fuck cookbooks. After another fight and the epic final slash that you'll see in literally every piece of Japanese media, the Shadow Lord is no more. The game double checks to make sure you remember your name, and the current Yona finally wakes up. She is thankfully okay. Kane is all like, GG's, but I'm out. We get a flashback to a happy brother and sister staring at the sky, and Shade Yona gets reunited with the Shadow Lord. Good job, everyone. We beat the game. Is what I would say if this wasn't a Nier game. But if you watch my Nier Automata explain video, or if you actually played that game, you already know we have to play this game like 4 more times, which I actually do highly recommend because the additional content and endings are definitely worth it and do change quite a bit. Don't worry though, like my last Nier explained, I'm going to skim over pretty much everything except the actual changes. So thankfully the second playthrough starts right after we bring Kane out of her Han Solo impression. We do all the same stuff on our way to the Shadow Lord, but we do get some more context. For example, the second playthrough centers more on Kane's background, and we get a series of quote-unquote dreams or text adventures that show how Kane was always an outcast, how her relationship with her grandma was the only thing that gave her any kind of hope growing up, how the shade that we helped Kane kill was the one that killed her grandmother, and how she shares her body with another murderous shade named Tyran. Before getting the first key fragment, Nightboy makes friends with the shades and fights us to protect them, not necessarily to protect the key. At the junk heap, current day humans, or shells or whatever they're called now, hunted down a shade boy and his mother. Mom dies trying to protect the little guy. He's sad, meets up with a robot, and they become friends. Turns out little Shade isn't actually controlling the robot to do bad things, they're just looking out for each other. And the little fuckboy from the junk heap is blaming the robots for his own mess ups because that's how his brother died. Again, the robot didn't actually do it. At this point in the game, it's making you feel like an asshole for everything that you've already done, including the Shipwreck Area. The postman investigated this creepy shipwreck way before we did and found this girl. For some weird reason, he never questioned why she was there alone or why she just stood there and never talked. But instead, he kept visiting her and give her food and supplies and, be nice to her. He built a father-daughter-like relationship with Shade Girl, and all Shade Girl actually wanted to do was become human so she could have this relationship. It's too bad we killed her. Going back to the facade wedding, you really question whether or not you did the right thing. Because first, the humans turn the wolf's forest into a desert, and the Shade Wolf is telling his people to chill because he knows fighting with the humans isn't worth it. Before the wedding, some of the facade guards just straight up annihilate a bunch of wolves for no reason at all. Shade Wolf even tries to save one of the young ones, and it really makes you feel bad for them. They get their revenge by killing Fira, which is what we already saw, but at the end of the battle when the king stabs the Shade Wolf, he's all like, "What have we done to deserve such a fate?" Nothing, Shade Wolf. You did nothing. Humans are just fucked up for absolutely no reason. Pour one out. Finally, we get to the second ending. Shadow Lord is sad because he failed his sister. We flash back to the cookie they shared in the first scene of the game, showing how she appreciates his sacrifice to be there for her. Credits roll, GG's. But wait, no shit. Emile is alive. He's just ahead, but Emile is alive. Emile's head rolls off and that's it. We're finally done. Is what I would say if this wasn't a Nier game. So we play the game a third time, and this time basically everything worth mentioning is practically identical to the first playthrough, except when Emile sacrifices himself during the Popola nuke, we get a very telling text scene showing how deep the relationship between Emile and his sister was, and how her magic is basically the thing that keeps him alive during this sacrificial scene. Then at the very end, we defeat the Shadow Lord for the third time. We're treated to an extended ending. Believe it or not, the next three endings, especially the last one, kind of makes this all worth it. The black scroll in Kane is becoming too much for her and she starts turning again. Just before she does, she asks you to kill her. As you fight her berserk form, Tyrann, the shade that was living in her, offers you the ultimate choice that you make once Kane is defeated. Your first option is to kill her like she asked, allowing her to finally be free from all that she has lived through. You find a lunar tear, know that you'll always be together. GG's, you just got ending C. The second option is where it gets even more interesting. This choice will bring Kane back to life as a true human, but you will be sacrificing your own existence. This game literally asks you 4 times if this is the decision you wish to make, and even makes you confirm your character's name again as if it was a password. What do you get for saving Kane? The game erases everything. All your weapons, gone. Collectibles, gone. Progress, gone. All of your save files, not just the one you're currently playing on, gone. It's all gone. You really just wiped your character's entire existence. Kane wakes up and Yona thanks her defeating the Shadow Lord. It's like our guy never existed in the first place, save a random vision Kane has, but still can't remember what exactly it means. Roll credits, GG's, it's all over. But not yet. So after the game erased all of your shit, you say, fuck that, we're not done. And you make another file with a new character. You play the beginning of the game, this time all the way up until you skewer that ballsack shade. Kane does the whole falling away thing, but instead of waking up in her guy's arms like she did in the first playthrough, she wakes up in her own bed. 3 years have passed since Kane defeated the Shadow Lord, and she keeps having a dream as if she had forgotten something but doesn't know what. Then we get to the best part of this entire game, exclusive to the remastered version. We get to play as the waifu herself. She even got out of bed after that dream and literally says, "Guess I'll go kill some shit." It's so good. It's so good. So you're out there killing shit and you save a guard who says he's gonna go investigate a tree in the Forest of Myth. Turns out there are robots coming out of that tree. That's weird as fuck. So we're gonna go investigate further. We end up deep underground in some machine cavern and these twin machine things appear. I don't know what it is with these Nier games and twins, but it's a thing. These twins kind of remind you of the twin AIs that pop up in Nier Automata. They stick a big robot boss on us, but Kane has no problem with that. However, she does struggle against the countless horde of Kane clones that you have to fight following the big robot boss fight. Just as it looks like it's all over, our guy Emile comes through and swoops in with the clutch save. Emile opens the path while you fight off the remaining clones, and you're both talking about fragments of your memory that you lost, and this is how you're going to recover them. Then the door opens. Holy fucking shit. This is the machine tower world from Nier Automata. It's all starting to come together. The lost memory or guy is being held in this tower. Remember, they are not actually humans, but what they call replicants, and are linked within the machine network. It's all making sense. You beat the shit out of some cube that has the memories you're looking for and end up in the machine AI world. Everything just keeps getting more and more insane as constant links are drawn between Nier Replicant and Nier Automata. You fight several waves of enemies, all linking to different memories that Kane has until you get back to that big ass shade that killed your grandma. Unfortunately, this is a fight you're not meant to win as he EMPs you. You get another dream sequence that's actually kind of messed up until you hear a familiar voice. Fucking Vice is here and he wakes your ass up, spears the monster and joins your fight. We are now fighting as Kane with all of Weiss's magic. This fight can't get any more hype. With Weiss's power, Kane messes up the final boss, all to bring back the memory of our guy. She also calls the final boss a fuck waffle before finishing the job. Definitely worth mentioning because this is the funniest line in the entire game. Following the fight, you get a really powerful scene as Kane brings back his memory and then she gets a choice. Do you want to bring him back? By selecting yes, the data of your current game will be erased and everything from your playthrough before will be restored as you bring back your original character. You then get a final cutscene showing the game's machine tower and Kane embracing our naked character who apparently caught a serious case of Benjamin Button. And that's it. After 5 playthroughs, kinda, it's finally over. Like I said before, if you want the full experience, I highly suggest you play the game yourself as it is a really good game. There are so many small nuances that impact this great story that it's almost impossible to get the same impact in a quick overview like this. The game also leaves you with a nice little cutscene where all the voice actors thank you for playing. I mean, let's be honest. It's the small things that make the biggest difference. If you found this video helpful or at all entertaining, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what other game series you want me to explain. Keep your eyes on the channel for more updates, but bear with me, these videos do take some time. Some games I do need to replay in order to get the full experience back, and Blanca is a very busy boy with a young family, full-time job, and a growing live stream. If you would like to check out the live stream on Twitch, join the family on Discord, or connect on any of our socials. All of my links can be found in the description below. I'm LaMuerteBlanca, and I'll catch you guys next time.